Dear distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to 2022 Kitgalan Forum Indo-Pacific Security Dialogue, which is hosted by the Prospect Foundation and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This is Wendy, your MC for today's event. I want to first welcome all of you, home and abroad, to join this meaningful event, conducting deeper communication on Indo-Pacific security topics. There are in total 3 keynote speeches and 4 panel discussions today, inviting top academics, experts, and officials across the globe to share their viewpoints and insights. It's our great honor to have these security experts to join us. We hope to work together, promote Asian countries' security, and eventually enhance the well-being of mankind. Today's forum is considered as one of the action plans. Thank you once again for your participation and give us such a strong support. At the beginning of this event, please join me in welcoming Chairman of the Prospect Foundation, Dr. Chen Tangshan, to deliver his opening statement. Please welcome.
Good morning, everybody. My good friend, Deputy Foreign Minister, Ten Zongguang, Dr. Xinhuang Michael Xiao, Honorable Legislator Luo Zizeng, and Honorable Legislator He Zuwei, Honorable Representative Suzuki Keisuke, and Honorable Minister Kevin Andrews, Honorable Minister Christopher Payne, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning again. It is a tremendous pleasure that I welcome you all to this year's凱達格蘭Forum, Indo-Pacific Security Dialogue. So we are here today, in times of unprecedented crisis. We understand in Europe, a dictatorship led by Vladimir Putin has done the unthinkable by launching a major war of aggression against its neighbor, Ukraine. The destruction wrought by the Russian military, with total disregard for civilian life and infrastructure, that brings back the memories of the World War II. The inability of the international community, moreover, to deter Russian aggression also puts into doubt by the very liberal order that has underpinned the international system since 1945. Now, closer to home, an increasingly assertive and confident China continues to expand its military and to challenge the existing order in the Indo-Pacific. Now, Xi Jinping's China, meanwhile, is becoming more repressive and more close to the norms and values that allow freedom to flourish. China's support for Putin's war on Ukraine also raises alarming questions about whether the Sino-Russian authoritarian axis has entered a new and more proactive phase. So we are asking, are Xi and Putin and perhaps Kim Jong-un in North Korea joining forces to challenge and dislocate the security arrangement that on the whole have been greatly beneficial to humanity? And are the new autocrats hijacking international institutions and rewriting the rules to create a system that is more permissive to the anti-democratic worldview? So those are the questions we ask. Amid those challenges, our own democratic systems have come under unprecedented pressure. Embattled political systems, populist disinformation, and a loss of self-confidence. A loss of self-confidence, I emphasize, in the democratic world are conspiring to sap our energy. So the best is lacking all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. This is a quote from William Butler Yeats. And yet, we cannot give up. We cannot give up. And in fact, many of us today continue to hold on to the belief that we can prevail against the forces of revisionism that seek to create a world in which we do not want to live. We retain a belief in the art of the possible that is driven by a belief that our course is the right one. Our course is the right one. And it is the right one. So there is no moral equivalence between the liberal democratic order that we cherish, regardless of its imperfections, and the alternative that autocrats like Xi Jinping, like Putin, like Kim, and the many other despots who pepper the political landscape are proposing. But to me, no, they are not proposing. But they are seeking to impose, often against the very wishes of the people they claim to represent. So for too long, the democratic world has talked about this kind of problem, and yet still continues to do so. We must now move beyond the world, beyond that, because we know what the challenges are, and we know who our challengers are as well. Now is the time to act, because the other side is acting, as Russia's action in Europe have made all too clear. We must elaborate strategies and be as inclusive as possible while we do so. We must be imaginative and not allow self-imposed constraints or fears to hamper our efforts to counter the authoritarian revisionism. So this does not mean that we must abandon our democratic ideals or rule of law. Absolutely not. But we must also realize that stagnancy, hesitancy, and a lack of vision are a form of weakness that the autocrats will not hesitate to exploit. So we understand it is not by any accident that we are gathered here in Taiwan today to discuss these important issues. As a model democracy in Asia, we all understand Taiwan is on the front lines of that kind of clash of ideologies. It is the first bridge in China's attempts to reorganize the original order and rewrite the rules of the game in a way that benefits power and nothing else. Consequently, Taiwan can be, and in fact is, part of the solution, which is a piece in the puzzle. So let us therefore use this opportunity to come together and give serious consideration to the best tactics and strategies by which we can push back against authoritarianism in all its forms, from its corrosive gray zone activities to the rewriting of the map by military aggression. So it is my fondest hope that this forum can serve as a starting point, I say as a starting point for new ideas, and more importantly, for concerted action. For concerted action. So again, today, I thank you all for being with us. Again, thank you very much.
Thanks to the opening statement from Chairman Chen. Please be seated. And at this time, it's also our great privilege and distinct honor to have Her Excellency, Madam President Tsai Ing-Wen, to address for the opening ceremony. Now, please join me in welcoming Her Excellency, Madam President Tsai.
Prospect Foundation Chairman Mark Chen-Tang-San, former President of Estonia Thomas Hendrik Ilves, former Foreign and Defense Minister of Japan Kono Taro, former U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano, Foreign Minister Joseph Wu, Prospect Foundation President Lai Yizhong, distinguished officials and guests joining us from around the world, good morning. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this year's Katagalan Forum. I want to especially thank those who have traveled from abroad to be here today, as well as those who are joining us virtually across time zones. For 6 years now, the Katagalan Forum has provided officials and experts in the Indo-Pacific and around the world with a unique opportunity to share views on important regional security issues. I'm hopeful that after more than 2 years fighting COVID-19, we will soon be able to welcome all of you to Taiwan so you can experience our vibrant democracy for yourselves. I want to take this opportunity to pay tribute to the late former Prime Minister Abe Shinzo of Japan. With his tragic passing, Japan lost a great leader. Taiwan lost a dear friend and ally, and the world lost a statesman of great vision. In developing the Quad and the concept of a free and open Indo-Pacific, the former Prime Minister laid the foundation for stronger regional partnership. Thanks to him, we are better placed to uphold the democratic, rules-based order that will ensure our region's stability and prosperity. Our democratic partnerships have never been more important as our shared values and institutions face unprecedented challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic has heightened these challenges while exposing the stark contrast between authoritarian and democratic systems. Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine has shown us that authoritarian regimes will not hesitate to violate the sovereignty of other states. These regimes pose increasing threats to international peace and security, requiring us to adopt a coordinated response. Here in the Indo-Pacific, authoritarian actors threaten to upend the regional balance. Their gray zone tactics seek to weaken international law and norms. Their diplomacy works to infiltrate democratic institutions and international organizations, undermining the sovereignty of other countries. And their violent crackdowns have exposed systemic human rights abuses. Taiwan's geostrategic position on the front lines of this authoritarian expansion makes us a crucial stronghold for democracy. With decades of experience, Taiwan can play a key role in alliances to counter authoritarian intrusion. We are glad to see more democracies worldwide acknowledge the stakes involved in the Indo-Pacific. In the past year, we saw the founding of AUKUS, as well as new initiatives by the EU and Quad to expand regional engagement. Just last month, Japan, Korea, Australia, and New Zealand attended a NATO summit for the first time. That summit concluded with a statement addressing the challenges posed by China. And leaders at the G7 meetings last month also underscored the importance of peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. As an integral democratic partner in the Indo-Pacific, Taiwan has been taking measures to upgrade our security. We have set up new facilities to advance domestic development of naval vessels. We have also taken steps to bolster our reserve forces, and we have made substantial investments to enhance our asymmetric warfare capabilities. Together, these efforts are accelerating our progress towards self-sufficiency in national defense. I want to make clear that the Taiwanese people are committed to defending our country, upholding our democratic way of life, and maintaining regional security and stability. Taiwan is not only key to regional and global security, but is also an indispensable member of the international community. Despite facing many obstacles to our international participation, we continue to engage meaningfully with friends around the world. Through the Global Cooperation and Training Framework, that is GCTF, Taiwan has conducted exchanges with more than 100 countries on cybersecurity, women's empowerment, humanitarian assistance, and other pressing issues. Closer to home, our New South-South policy has helped facilitate increased investment and people-to-people exchanges between Taiwan and our regional partners. With the launch of the U.S.-Taiwan Initiative on 21st Century Trade last month, we're deepening trade ties with the United States. And Taiwan and the EU align our policy goals, deepening the connectivities that help our mutual investment to reach record highs this past year. Our world-leading semiconductor industry is also advancing our global economic cooperation. While Taiwan's top chip makers expand their reach, our government is broadening international collaboration and stepping up R&D and training to maintain our competitive edge in this critical sector. Taiwan can and is playing a major role in ensuring secure global supply chains. Alongside our efforts to strengthen democratic unity, supply chain cooperation can be another important tool to curb authoritarian influence. Despite constant threats to our democratic values and way of life, we'll never give up on our commitment to democracy, freedom, and human rights. We're deeply grateful to all our like-minded partners who continue to stand with us in protecting our shared values and maintaining peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific. As long as we remain united, we can stem authoritarian expansion and allow democracy to flourish. By joining together here to share ideas and build common purpose, we honor the legacy of those who strove for a more free and peaceful world. Let us stand up for our values so that future generations can enjoy the hard-earned democratic freedoms passed down to us. I thank you all for your contributions to this dialogue and wish you a productive and enjoyable forum. Thank you.
Thanks to Her Excellency, Madam President Tsai. In following session, we'll have another distinguished guest from the Republic of Kosovo, former President Behgjet PACOLLI, to deliver his congratulatory message.
Dear President Tsai, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's so great pleasure for me to speak today at the opening of this very important forum, an important venue for sure for discussing regional and international security issues that are concerned and pressing for the democratic world. In the global strategic stage, we have transited from unipolar moments. We're going past the bipolar world and are emerging into a multipolar world. In that multipolar world, Asia will be a major tentpole, and so will, I hope, one day Europe as well. The question then is what could be possible derived out fulfillment of that potential. I will focus on three areas. First, we are in the middle of fundamental debate about the future and direction of our world. As President Biden has argued, today the primary challenge international politics is ideological democracy versus autocracy. We are what is described as the global struggle between autocratic regime and freely elected governments. Kosovo, Taiwan, and all small democracies around the world can make meaningful commitments toward the objectives of President Biden and objectives of the United States, of countering authoritarianism, fighting against corruption, and advancing respect for human rights at home and abroad. The war in Ukraine has shown that we need more and more meaningful and clear democratic solidarity if we want to maintain the rule-based and order and democratic nature. Second, if we are able to maintain a rule-based international order and rule that recognize the diversity and wisdom of the ages from Asia and makes the necessary adjustment to the past World War II international institutions like the United Nations, etc. Another point on the rules-based international order has been highlighted by the invasion of Ukraine. If we continue to go back to a pre-World War means of engaging other countries And if we continue to believe that might is right and that big countries get to redraw boundaries, setting historical rules and crazy decisions, then all bets are off. We do need a universally accepted rules-based world order in which all of us have a say, all of us, big or small, wealthy or not so wealthy, are equal, and that those superpowers will feel and will assess that it is in their own enlightened self-interest to restrain themselves and act in accordance with international law. The third prerequisite for us to fulfill our potential is in trade and investments. I am making the argument for greater economic integration between democracies so that our free market economy can develop further and respond to the needs of our people. So we don't leave gray zones that enter autocratic actors and use the economic sphere to influence the political direction of democracies. We all know about digitalization. We know that artificial intelligence is undergoing a revolution. We know that there are whole new professions being created. My point is the digital revolution is in fact a complete revamp of the means of production and of wealth generation for the future. This is another area which Taiwan has a natural lead, and if we can complement Taiwan's capability and the latent nascent abilities and markets in Kosovo and Western Balkans, then we can remark not just the next 2 decades, but I hope at least the next half century and behind. That's why I invite Taiwanese companies to come to Kosovo and use Kosovo as a hub for Western Balkans and the European Union. Use its youth, potential, and geography to expand further. Let me conclude by saying again that the relationship between democracies is not something new. It has gone on for millennia. I hope to see more exchange between Kosovo and Taiwan, so long as we keep a peaceful and stable world based on international law, so long as we open the arterial connection between our countries, and as long as we train our youth peoples to harness the opportunities that the digital revolution provides us, we have a great future ahead of us. Thank you very much.
Thanks to His Excellency, Mr. President PACOLLI.